Till now we have seen very simple if and else blocks. Let's try to expand our knowledge. And this time let me create a new file by the name of alienlicense.py. Here is the situation. Lewis desperately wants to drive a car, and he hears that in a planet called as Zorton, there is no age limit for getting a license. So let's see how we can address this situation. Let us create a couple of variables. The first one would be for age of the type of integer, age is 13. The next one for a planet, the type would be string, and let me assign it to Earth initially. Let me introduce to you a little more complex statements by using and or statements. So let's start writing our compound if and else blocks along with and or. The first case would be if the age is less than 16 and the planet is Earth. In that case, I simply want to print out that you are not eligible for a license on Earth. Here you can see I have double equal to. That simply means that this is a comparison operator. We are just trying to compare if the value inside the variable planet is equal to Earth or not. Now let's move on to the next block for the else statement. Here we can say else if the age is greater than 16 and if the planet is again Earth. In that case, I want to print out that you are eligible for a license on Earth. But what happens if both of these values are false? What happens if the planet is Zorton? Or what happens if the age is less than 16 but you are trying to apply for a license on Zorton? Let's try to create one more condition over here. Let us write an if and else block right over here. So we can say else if the age is less than 16 and if the planet is Zorton. In that case, I want to print out you can apply for a Zortanian license because it's valid in the planet Zorton. Let me save the file and let me try running it and let us see what output we are getting. So I'm getting the output that you are not eligible for a license on Earth. So let's get back to the code and let us evaluate what's exactly happening. Let us begin with evaluating all of the if and else block. Let's start with this one on line number 13. Let me put up a comment over here. So this is how the evaluation is taking place. Python is going to compare, is the age less than 16? Yes, my age is 13. 13 is less than 16. So the first statement is going to evaluate to true. So that comes right over here. The next operator that we have is and. So and comes right over here. Now Python will go to the last statement. It's going to compare, is planet equal to Earth? So as you can see on line number 7, we have assigned the value of Earth to planet. Hence, this statement also evaluates to true. Earth is equal to Earth. So that's why we have a true over here. And since we have two trues, this entire statement on line number 13 evaluates to true. So we can print out you are not eligible for a license on Earth. And right after this, let me put up one more comment just to explain what's happening. And since this if statement on line number 13 evaluates to true, the execution is going to stop right at this point. Python is not going to go to the next else and if block. Python will directly jump to line number 22 and it will exit from our program. So that's what is exactly happening. So let me put up some more comments right over here. Execution does not reach over here. The same thing for this one as well. Let's do a small exercise. On line number 14, we have tried to evaluate the statement. Let us try to evaluate the statements on line number 18 and line number 21 as well. Let me put up a comment right over here. Now let's try to evaluate this statement. My current age is 13. As you can see on line number 6, we have assigned the age as 13. So the first statement, age is 13, 13 is greater than 16. No, it's not. So we have false right over here. The next operator is AND, so AND comes right over here. The next statement is planet equal to Earth. Yes, my planet is equal to Earth, so we have a true. But in this case, we have one false and one true. So this statement is going to evaluate to false. Let's see what's happening on line number 22. Let me put up a comment right over here as well. So as you can see, the age is 13. 13 is less than 16. So we have a true condition over here. Now the planet. The planet currently is Earth and Earth is not equal to Zoltan. So we have false over here. One true and one false is always going to give you a false statement. We can actually try to improve our logic at this time by introducing an OR statement. Remember, in Zoltan, even if you are less than 16, you are still eligible for a license. So we don't have to check this condition at all. We can simply say if your age is 16 or if the planet is Zoltan, in that case, you can apply for a Zoltanian license. In this case, the evaluation would be different. My age is less than 16, it's true. And right here, instead of AND, we have an OR condition. The next is planet is equal to Zoltan, so that's again going to be false. True or false. Now this time, whenever we have an OR condition and we have one true and one false, it's always going to evaluate to true. Since we have an OR statement, the true wins over the false. But since the first block is executing, we are not going to execute this block. And just for your reference, let me put all of the and OR tables right over here. So these are all of the and OR scenarios, but you can do much better. If you are in confusion, just open up your terminal and I want you to open up the Ipython shell. Remember, we have installed Ipython at the beginning of the series. If you have not installed, you can simply install by typing pip install Ipython. What happens is Python actually comes with a shell. You can simply type Python. This takes you inside a Python shell and here you can start writing Python commands. For example, I can say 1 plus 2 and I get the output of 3. You can exit this shell by typing Ctrl and D. Now Ipython is a slightly better version of this and it's slightly more interactive, so I prefer to use Ipython shell. Just type Ipython and go inside the shell. Let me clear up the terminal. And whenever you are confused what statement evaluates to what, you can simply type right over here. Here you can type what happens if I have one condition which is true and the next condition which is also a true. We get a true. But what happens if I have one true and one false condition? We have a false. What happens if I have one true or false? Then also we get a true. What happens if I have a false and also a false? We get a false. Let us try to evaluate one last condition. What happens if I have a false and false? In that case, it also evaluates to false. So you can always come back to this Ipython shell and see how the statements are being evaluated. Now suppose Lewis migrates to Zoltan. Then let's see what's happening. Let me put up a command. Now Lewis is no longer staying on Earth. He's staying in Zoltan. Let me copy and paste all of this and put it right over here. I'm not going to change any of the logic. Let me just run the file as usual and let us see what output we are getting. Oh, first I need to exit this. You can exit this by pressing Ctrl and D. Yes, I want to exit. Let me clear up my terminal, go back to the file. Let me save it one more time and let me try running it. It looks like we have a small bug and I exactly know what we did wrong. At this point, we did not reassign the value of planet to Zorton. That's what we need to do. So we can say my planet now is Zorton. That's it. Just save your file and let us try to run the file one more time. Now we have the desired output. You can apply for a Zortanian license. Now let's try to see how the statements are being evaluated. So let's see what's happening. On line number 48, this statement planet equal to Earth, this time it's going to evaluate as false. True and false is going to evaluate to a false, and so we are not going to execute this block. Let's go to the new block. Age is greater than 16. No, it's false. Planet equal to Earth. No, it's false because we are staying in Zorton. False and false, we have a false. So Python will go to the last condition. Age is less than 16. True. Planet equal to Zorton. Yeah, it's also true. True or a true equals to true. And that's the reason why we have this output as you can apply for a Zortanian license.